All right, is our paint dry enough to work with here? Oh yeah. Okay, so first thing we can do is get the bucket back on and haul in some stone to fill that hole so that it's no longer a hole. And then we gotta go dig the manure spreader out because of all stupid things, I have a load of manure to spread. I need both hands for this part. I do need to look. Here, look out. When we go out to the pole barn and see. I didn't even think about it, mostly because when I was buying stuff for this door, Menards didn't have them. At least I didn't see where they had them in with all their pole barn stuff, but I need to see if I can put a handle on this like what they have on the pole barn that was made for, or at least make something similar to it for this door. That was because that handle was made specifically for sliders, but it also doubles as your chain hook for the center of the door. Yeah, not much room up here. Actually, as long as you're in between the floor joists, you can sit straight up. Good thing when you idle this thing down, the rain cap just floats, otherwise it wouldn't fit. On a tractor built like this, where it wasn't really, I mean, I shouldn't say it wasn't meant to have a loader on it, but look, visibility down to the bucket is atrocious. You kind of gotta feel the quick attach by braille because you can't see what you're doing. can shovel it from there. Oh no. My crappy concrete broke. Oh well, it could probably just live there for now. Okay, now we don't have to worry about falling in a gaping hole. That took a lot more stone than I thought it would. It ate damn near that whole, well, I guess it's probably only about 3/4 of a bucket, but it ate damn near the whole thing. Makes your back hurt just thinking about how much of that dirt I dug out of there by hand with a jackhammer. So now if we can just hook that side up the same way. That looks so much better not having them holes cut out of that concrete. It's amazing how much it's amazing just the difference a little bit of stone will make. Also yesterday went and looked at those shelves I was talking about for over here that Shelly's mom had, and unfortunately they're put together shelves like that, but they're the lighter style with the teardrop shaped and the cutouts and the pins rather than the hooks, and they're only 2 foot by, now they might not even have been 2 foot, they might have been less than that. They were probably only 3.5, 4 foot long, and they might have only been like 17, 18 inches deep, so obviously not enough, which actually that reminds me I wanted to get a tape measure and see how deep of a shelf I actually do need. I think, pretty sure I'm gonna need a 4-footer. Yeah. Because I figure if I can get a shelf here and just put one shelf on it, and then probably gonna have to put a bar across the top back portion just to keep it steady, and get it up high enough that I can get these planter units stuffed underneath and those cultivator units, and then get this finger weeder and the lift rigging, everything on the shelf, because that'd be the lightest stuff. And I could probably get away with one shelf. I'm just scared. I could make them out of wood, but I would just be worried about, I don't know, I guess you build them strong enough. Actually, I got a buddy, I should text him real quick. I got a buddy that they're cleaning out. I think I talked about it a while back. They're having to move off of their farm because they sold it to a big battery plant it's supposedly a GM battery plant for all their newfangled EVs that are going over like a lead balloon. Down just south of the Indiana state line here. And it was one of them deals where they either sold their farm and got the money, or the county was going to come in and just take it with eminent domain, because the county doesn't give a shit about the farm. They just want the battery plant to come in. So obviously at that point you might as well sell it and take the money and run. But they got to clean out they're cleaning out all the years of accumulated shit they have, and they got some pretty hefty wooden shelves in their parts area that might work there. I'll have to text them and see how big they are. But anyway, we got to go dig the manure spreader out of the barn. These handles right here, probably the biggest thing I don't like about these is that they face mount here, and they actually, if you don't like hold out on the door while you're shutting it, they'll clip the door jamb. But if I could make, it wouldn't be that hard to just take a piece of round stock like this and just bend 2 ears on it so you can screw it in between your girts, and then you've got a handle right there. Okay, I'm probably... The T can stay, the Super 55, the Light, and the Mini gotta come out. So, get these guys fired up. This little tractor right here, it is amazing how good it starts when it's cold. Especially since we've done nothing to the engine. And Lord knows how bad the inside of that looks, knowing its history. Angry kitty. Manure spreader's hooked up. Had to get it out with the 55 because the 1600 with the loader, you ain't gonna weasel it out of that corner. hopefully by the end of the day, oh, I forgot I locked that. Hopefully by the end of the day, there will be a lot more equipment coming out of that barn and going in this barn than there will be going back in that barn. Hopefully. So what we got going on here with the manure spreader is this. It's been a minute since anybody's seen inside this particular building. Actually, it's probably, I think I've only been in here on video once, and that was when I came back to YouTube and did the walk around the farm here. And if you recall from that, there used to be like a half-ass wall here with a cattle panel and a bunch of crap, and then there was boards across that door so you couldn't get in and out. And I'm going to take some of the stuff out of like all the crap along the wall down there, except for the white sign. I gotta find a safer spot for that for the time being. That stuff's gonna come in here temporarily, but I gotta get all this shit shoveled out because I finally, just earlier this week, I finally got the boards cut out of there and got this wall taken out so that I could actually get in here. And because before that point, I've never actually stepped foot on this side of the barn. So go get my, I think probably gonna have to use my silage fork and a scoop shovel and a broom. So go get my tools. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Gotta love you some 20-something-year-old pen pack, right? It's kind of a shame that the people I bought this from had horses in here. Which I guess it's not necessarily having the horses in here that was the problem so much as having the horses in here and not bothering to try to keep the barn maintained or take any precautions to keep the horses from chewing on said barn like horses like to do. Because if it wasn't for the damage that the horses did to it, you probably could have saved this building. And I mean, I guess anything is savable. It just depends on how much time and money you want to put into it versus the utility you're going to get out of it when it's done. So you got to take that into consideration. But I mean, they didn't clean anything out. When I got this barn had, from here where the wall was over, there was about 16 to 18 inches of loose wet straw because the roof leaks. The corn crib had probably 2.5 to 3 feet of loose straw and broken straw bales in it, so you tell that was where they stored everything. And you can't I mean, it wasn't the using it for hay and it wasn't using it for the hay and straw storage that was the problem so much as using it for the hay and straw storage and letting the roof leak on it and letting things get wet, and then obviously that makes wood rot and just and then you end up with what could have been a very easily savable structure that is no longer very easily savable. But I guess where I'm going with all this is, I think we finally got a plan for what's going to happen with this building that just came about in the last few days. So, but I have visual aids to explain that, so let me get done shoveling here and we will talk about that for a minute. I know there's people that don't like fucking talking. Well, if you don't like it, don't watch that part. So let me get finished up here and then we'll move on and I'll tell you what we got going on here. All right, that's all cleaned out. There was a lot more than I thought there'd be. It's probably a little over half a load there, which for this small of a space is pretty impressive. So I'll go get that spread here in a minute, but first like I say, I had visual aids as part of the description of what we got going on here. So Shelly wants chickens, which the way the chicken and egg market is going right now, I don't really see a problem with it. It's probably not a bad idea to get into because there's probably a little bit of money to be had there between selling eggs and selling meat birds and what have you. But I couldn't really think of a good spot to put a chicken coop that wouldn't require a lot of groundwork. And then between that and it's like, okay, if we're gonna do this, I don't want to just get like one of those pallet shed pre-built garbage things that people buy from stores. I wanted to build something that looked like it belonged here on this farm. So I got online and started looking and managed to stumble across this book. Now, don't let the cover fool you. This is actually a reprint of a book by the same title, Farm Buildings with Plans and Descriptions by Herbert A. Shearer, originally published in 1917. Written in 1917, this classic text provides insight into how to construct useful buildings on the farm or homestead, which would be right around the correct time period, because at that point this farm would have been roughly 30 years old-ish. So if you like reading and you like farm buildings and stuff, I recommend buying this. It's kind of a cool read. It's got some cool pictures, but it covers, and I bought it off Amazon. I think it was like 20 bucks, 24 bucks, something like that. But there's some cool pictures of old barns in here. But you've got economy of good farm buildings, 2 kinds of barn construction. That section's really neat. Horse and cow barns, enlarged dairy and horse barn, dairy barn for 28 cows, dairy barn for 30 cows. They get really specific here. Monitor roof dairy stable, new models for farm barns, miscellaneous farm buildings, hog house for winter and summer. The hog house section's cool too. Poultry houses and poultry furniture, that's the section we're concerned about. There's a whole section in here talking about concrete, which at this point would have been fairly new in anything farm related. And there's even a section in here about building farmhouses. So, but we are concerned with the poultry section, which is page 124. So we get in here and you got your basic, that's just a really basic. And then you go to this guy. which I've seen chicken coops, chicken houses, whatever you want to call them. I've seen them around here built pretty similar to that. And basically it talks about, you go through here and you read, and it talks about how to place the building. And basically it says you want to place it, and that they call that one the one with the shed roof. And actually I skipped the diagram. Sorry for those of you that aren't interested in any of this, but like I say, if you don't like it, just don't watch this part. There's a portable, like, skid-built chicken coop for you. But it talks about building it two different ways. You can either have the shed roof, which is what that, you know, single pit shed roof, or it talks about building it with a regular barn style roof. But basically basically the way it explains it, because they call that a poultry house for winter and summer, they talk about you want your high side with your windows facing south, since obviously this time of year the sun is going to be in the southern part of the sky shooting this way. So you want your high side with your windows, and then you have your low side with no windows facing north. That way during the day the sun comes in, shoots through the windows, warms the building up, and then in the evening in the evening at night when it's colder, you have your roofs and everything on the short wall of the back of the shed, and the short wall helps hold the heat in the back of the barn. That's the way the book describes it anyhow. So anyway, that was kind of the style of chicken coop that I had thought about trying to build. It talks about I think it said you wanted you wanted to figure 3 square feet per chicken. And then they had a floor plan for one that was 16 by 16 and one that was 16 by 34. So I got to thinking about that, and I got to looking at this thing, and it's like, yeah, it's built as a horse stable, pony stable, whatever it would have been, but it really wouldn't be that hard the way it's built to convert it into that style of a chicken coop and just leave the barn roof on it. So I got to thinking about that. But then, and I had Dad come over and we talked about it and really got to looking at it, because I mean, I knew this barn was going to be in tough shape to begin with, because there's a big gaping hole in the roof right there because they let the sheeting get, or the shingles or whatever, something went bad, and then you got pinholes all throughout the roof back here, and the siding's falling off, and this front sill beam from that wall all the way through here is rotten. And we come back to the horses have been chewing on the walls and gnawing on the walls, and it's just rough. And basically came to the conclusion that for the amount of time and lumber I'd have in trying to fix the structure that was here, I'd be money ahead to just knock the whole thing down and start over again and reuse the foundation, because the foundation needs fixed too. Back here on this corner, it would appear that the barn is actually holding the foundation up, because you got this gap right here and this corner sagging, but this first row of block is still up, so the barn itself has to be holding that block up. And the floor, this was clearly a dirt floor to begin with, and they poured the concrete, and when they did, they probably did the worst thing they could do and poured it up over the sill beam. So at least on the back, the front is, I don't know, the floor in this doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless that's a patch over top of something or whatever they did, but either way. So kind of came up with a different plan. Would be because the foundation really, other than that corner, the foundation on this is in pretty decent shape and could pretty easily be repaired without the building on top of it. So basically the conclusion we came to is knock the barn down, fix the foundation, take this floor off of it, pour a new floor on top of it, and pour like a 12 inch, however long or however tall knee wall around the outside of it to build on top of. Build the chicken coop, which would probably end up damn near the same layout. Probably leave the wall here like this, and use this for like a feed room and you know, storage for whatever you need for keeping chickens. And then have this part here is the actual coop itself. And probably build it like that diagram shows with the shed roof. And then if you did it that way, you could just keep the roof going on off the back, and we'd have to do some grade leveling and probably have to build, because this would have to come down a fair bit because it's sloped up towards the foundation. So I guess it would determine, I guess first we'd have to determine how far down in the ground the foundation goes, and that would basically determine what our grade would be for the floor. And then you'd probably have to come here and pour or build or make a block retaining wall, because you're gonna have to come down here and level all this off. And then you could take, if you built as a shed style roof, you could just keep the pitch coming out back past this wall and build a lean-to off the back of it, so you have another spot to store equipment, which would be a good spot for all these wagons and stuff that don't really need a full-on pole barn to keep, or for storage. So that's a possible future building project. As much as I would really like to save this, or save this and repurpose it, that was why I had Dad come over. He looks at it with a little bit more objective mind, and he pretty much got me talked into just knocking it down and starting over. That being said, I'd probably build it. I wouldn't use, I guess, what you'd call modern building techniques. I'd try to build it to mimic the building style of the time. Obviously, though, I would wrap it in barn tin, because, my God, I couldn't imagine what it would cost to wrap something that size in tongue and groove or board and batten or even shiplap. Because that would just, oh my God, that would be expensive to put that much lumber into it. It would look good, but my God, that would be expensive. And what I could probably do is, if I could save, and it would be hard because this stuff's brittle, but if I could get the siding off of this, I could probably use the siding on the inside of the new shed to cover the inside of the walls, because if it's going to be a chicken coop, probably going to want to insulate it for winter. But that would at least make the inside look period correct if I could manage something like that. It, like I say, would just be a matter of, well, and the shitty part is the front, you got all the holes for the, of course there would be more windows in the front if it was a chicken coop, so something to think about trying anyhow. But anyway, that's kind of what but like I say, if you like old farm buildings and you enjoy reading, and this is some pretty easy reading, and there's a lot of cool diagrams and stuff. So like I say, it was on Amazon. I'm pretty sure it was like $24, $24.95, something like that. So, but anyway, with that being said, we can go spread this out and start moving some stuff out of the barn into here. So, but what everybody came here to see is going to be the manure spreading part. So this is what you get. Okay, I figured this would be a decent spot to get rid of this stuff. stuff, I could just clean it out with a leaf blower and be good. Okay, now we can move some stuff out of here. This stuff's going, basically everything along this wall. I haven't decided on these rims. I gotta get that door out of here. That door I really want to redo, because that door is the same as that door, but that door, the bottom's rotted off of it, and that door is actually in really good shape. It'd just be nice to strip it and kind of shore everything up and clean it up and put it back together. So yeah, I almost wish I had the pallet forks but for the 1600, but I really don't want to run all the way over there just to get them to, I really only need it for that. But so anyhow, got this thing going first. I haven't decided what I should do with this thing. It's an old Army Corps of Engineers tool chest. And it's one of them deals where it'd be really cool if it was still complete, but I'm guessing that, well, everything that was in it is obviously not here, and he was just using it for a toolbox. And the bottom of it's rotted. The hardware on it's neat. I don't know. I've had a really hard time just throwing it away or burning it or anything, but I'm also tired of it kicking around. So I'm probably just gonna end up, I'll just move it again and keep him on about it. Unless somebody wants it, I don't know. I don't know if anybody could use it, and I don't know if I got any guys that restore military stuff that would be interested in it. If somebody wants it to fix it, I would give it to you. I'd rather see it go to somebody that's gonna do something with it than to just get rid of it. Because it almost looks like it was met with these cutouts to fit in the back of a Jeep. That's just kind of the vibe it gives off. But anyway, if somebody wants it, I'll give it to you. You just got to come get it. So anyway, moving on. Okay, I got everything in here that I wanted to get in here for the time being. So that didn't work out half bad. So now it's the Super 55's time to shine. Ooh, I need to. So I think I got enough room as of right now. I think. This hole is going to make things a little interesting, but kind of got to work around it anyhow because the picker's sticking that far past the doorway. But anyhow, I think I got enough room because I shuffled this stuff over. That 21 two-way plow should fit right here, and then should be able to get that 2-row planter here, and then hopefully push the crimper in up against the wall here. Hopefully, we'll see. For sure, the crimper's going there and the planter's going there. We'll see how things go after that. But, oh, I walked over here because I need a D-ring. I'm pretty sure I got one here on one of the plows. I thought I did. Oh, right there. One on my plow. Come on, damn you. Think skinny. So much stuff to catch on. That guy right there. Is this really the only one I got over here? It's looking like it. All these plows and only one D-ring. Okay, let's go get the plow hooked up. This thing is terrible to try to hook up by yourself. Block the rear end up, or the easiest thing to do, just have somebody stand on the tongue. I guess we're walking it from there, maybe. There we got her. To make things quieter. It's definitely going to pack in a little bit. We're going to have to haul some more in. No matter what, it ain't going to be as good as concrete, but it'll do for now, alright? So this thing is going to go there. Okay, that fits. And I got just enough room here to, if I needed to, I can get back here to the fuse panel, so that works out good. Now I'll go hook onto that planter and put it right here. Okay, planter's in there. Had to push that thing in by hand too. Tell you what, that thing, it doesn't look like much, but boy, howdy is that thing. That's all you can manhandle with one person. I think it's safe to say the crimper, unfortunately, is not going to fit here. It would if we didn't have to worry about keeping the doorway open. Actually, hold that thought, let me do some measuring. Okay, I changed my mind. I thought, okay, if I take this bench and put it there, and technically there is 10, just a tick over 10 foot between the tongue and the wall, but eh. But with that being said, just because the crimper won't fit here, I got something that will. There, that looks like a good home for it. I'm thinking there's something needs to fit here, but I don't have anything small like that. But I should be able to back the manure spreader. Even it should fit in between these posts. Should be able to back the manure spreader straight in for now, which is kind of my plan to begin with, was to make it where I could just stuff that spreader in right up against that wall, which if I get rid of these tires, all these tanks and everything can slide down that way and open up this all the way to the wall. And I think for now, if I can get the crimper in here and just kind of spin it over here so I don't have to put it back in the other barn, and we should be, and the way things look, I should even be able to park the Super 55 in here tonight. So see what I can come up with. It's gonna be, it's gonna be hard getting it in here. I might actually have to set it in here with the loader because I think that snout's gonna be in the way. Once everything's all said and done and I get everything moved down here that's coming down here, this can go in the barn and this will be out of the way, but I don't have room for that yet. So see what I can do. Now I'm impressed. I mean, I knew there was going to be some room down here, but this is, I like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces in here so far, plus all that menagerie of crap that's going to get reorganized. And hopefully, what might end up happening is this center bay will kind of be reserved for what needs to be used the most at the time, which is probably going to flip back and forth between the spreader and the baler. So once this post is in, it might be such a thing as at certain points of the year the baler's back in that corner, and at other points of the year the spreader's back in that corner. And if I can get the rake in here, that might be, the rake might be a little interesting. But if I can't get the rake in here, I don't know if I can get the sickle mower in here because it might be too tall with the bar up. But if I can get the baler and the rake in here, or the baler and the mower in here, that would be, on top of getting this stuff organized, that would be pretty slick. So, and get them 2 jack posts out of there and get the single post in where it belongs, and that's going to open up, I mean, that's going to make a huge difference, because them posts kind of make things feel small, because it kind of makes it where you can't utilize that back spot there. So I should actually get those tanks out of here and put them up in the, at least for now, put them up there in the horse stables, what I should do, because they don't need to be down here. So anyhow, I guess I will go put the other barn back together and we will wrap this up for the day. And it took me a second to figure out exactly where to position the 4-wheel drive, but once I figured out that it needed to be in that corner, everything fits in here with room to spare. So like I say, it'll be nice if I can get the baler and at least one other thing down there in the basement of the other barn, and at least get this sprayer out of here. It'd be nice to get the baler and the rake out of there so that I can get that sprayer and that sprayer back in the other barn where they were. And then that opens up all kinds of possibilities. So anyhow, I guess now that this is all done, that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.